Ancient Greek mythology monsters. Typhon is the largest and most dreadful monster in Greek mythology. He was tall, with a brutish face, and had wings, countless snake heads in place of hands, and a lower body made up of coiled serpents. His eyes flashed fire, and fiery rocks fell from his mouth. Typhon was the son of Gaia and Tartarus, although he is also mentioned as being the son of Hera in the Homeric hymn to Apollo. He joined in love with Echidna, a half-woman, half-snake creature, and together they had many fierce children. The most famous myth associated with Typhon is his battle with Zeus and the Olympian gods, as he sought to rule over gods and mortals. Typhon is also associated with Set from ancient Egyptian mythology and other Near Eastern myths. According to Hesiod, Typhon was terrible, outrageous and lawless, immensely powerful, and on his shoulders were 100 snake heads, that emitted fire and every kind of noise. The Homeric hymn to Apollo describes Typhon as fell and cruel, and like neither gods nor men. 3 of Pindar's poems have Typhon as 100-headed, while apparently a fourth gives him only 50 heads, but 100 heads for Typhon became standard. A Chalcidian Hydra depicts Typhon as a winged humanoid from the waist up, with 2 snake tails for legs below. Aeschylus calls Typhon fire-breathing. For Nicander, 2nd century BC, Typhon was a monster of enormous strength, and strange appearance, with many heads, hands, and wings, and with huge snake coils coming from his thighs. Apollodorus describes Typhon as a huge winged monster, whose head brushed the stars, human in form above the waist, with snake coils below, and fire flashing from his eyes. The most elaborate description of Typhon is found in Nonnus's Dionysiaca. Nonnus makes numerous references to Typhon's serpentine nature, giving him a tangled army of snakes, snaky feet and hair. According to Nonnus, Typhon was a poison-spitting viper, whose every hair belched viper poison, and Typhon spat out showers of poison from his throat. The mountain torrents were swollen, as the monster showered fountains from the viperish bristles of his high head. And the water snakes of the monster's viperish feet crawl into the caverns underground, spitting poison. Following Hesiod and others, Nonnus gives Typhon many heads, though untotaled. But in addition to snake heads, Nonnus also gives Typhon many other animal heads, including leopards, lions, bulls, boars, bears, cattle, wolves, and dogs, which combine to make the cries of all wild beasts together, and a babel of screaming sounds. Nonnus also gives Typhon legions of arms innumerable. And where Nicander had only said that Typhon had many hands, and Ovid had given Typhon 100 hands, Nonnus gives Typhon 200. The Minotauros was a bull-headed monster born to Queen Pasiphae of Crete after she coupled with a bull. The Minotaur was one of the most famous and gruesome monsters in ancient Greek mythology, usually portrayed with the body of a man and the head of a bull. Born from the unnatural union of Pasiphae and the Cretan bull, the Minotaur resided at the center of the labyrinth, designed specifically to hide him from view at the request of Pasiphae's husband, Minos. With the help of their daughter, Ariadne, Theseus, the greatest Athenian hero, eventually managed to kill the Minotaur. The creature resided in the twisting maze of the labyrinth, where it was offered a regular sacrifice of youths and maidens to satisfy its cannibalistic hunger. The beast was eventually slain by the hero Theseus. The Minotauros' proper name Asterion, the Starry One, suggests he might have been associated with the constellation Taurus. The Chimera was a 3-headed monster which ravaged the countryside of Lycia in Anatolia. It was a bizarre fire-breathing creature with the body and head of a lion, a goat's head rising from its back, the udders of a goat, and a serpent for a tail. The hero Bellerophon was commanded by King Iobates to slay the beast. He rode into battle on the back of the winged horse Pegasus and drove a lead-tipped lance into its flaming throat, choking the beast on molten metal. Medusa was one of the 3 Gorgons, daughters of Phorcys and Ceto, sisters of the Graii, Echidna, and Ladon. all dreadful and fearsome beasts. A beautiful mortal, Medusa was the exception in the family, until she incurred the wrath of Athena, either due to her boastfulness or because of an ill-fated love affair with Poseidon. Transformed into a vicious monster with snakes for hair, she was killed by Perseus, who afterward used her still potent head as a weapon, before gifting it to Athena. Medusa, whose name probably comes from the ancient Greek word for guardian, was one of the three Gorgons, daughters of the sea gods Phorcys and Ceto, and sisters of the Grai, Echidna, and Ladon. All of Medusa's siblings were monsters by birth and, even though she was not, she had the misfortune of being turned into the most hideous of them all. From then on, similarly to Euryale and Steno, her older Gorgon sisters, Medusa was depicted with bronze hands and wings of gold. Poets claim that she had a great boar-like tusk and tongue lolling between her fanged teeth. Writhing snakes were entwining her head in place of hair. Her face was so hideous and her gaze so piercing that the mere sight of her was sufficient to turn a man to stone. It wasn't always like that. Medusa, the only mortal among the Gorgon sisters, was also distinguished from them by the fact that she alone was born with a beautiful face. Ovid especially praises the glory of her hair, most wonderful of all her charms. The great sea god Poseidon seems to have shared this admiration. For once he couldn't resist the temptation and impregnated Medusa in a temple of Athena. Enraged, the virgin goddess transformed Medusa's enchanting hair into a coil of serpents, turning the youngest Gorgon into the monster we described above. Atlas is a legendary figure in Greek mythology who is one of the Titans. He is the son of Leitus. Atlas is a second-generation Titan born from two first-generation Titans. Atlas and his brother Menetius sided with the Titans against the Olympians in the Titanomachy. Menetius was confined to Tartarus with the other Titans after they were defeated. Atlas was forced to separate Gaia and Uranus so the two could never interaction with each other. Atlas helped Hercules with one of his 12 labors. He helped Hercules fetch some golden apples from Hera's garden guarded by his daughters the Hesperides and the dragon Ladon. Hercules offered to hold up the sky for the Titans so Atlas could help. Upon his return with the apples, Hercules learned that he was tricked and was going to permanently take Atlas' place. Hercules told Atlas he would take his place if the Titan would hold sky as he grabbed his cloak so he could have padding for his shoulders. Atlas set the apples down and fell for the demigod's trick. Later Hercules helped relieve Atlas of his burden by forming the Pillars of Hercules to separate Uranus the sky and Gaia the earth. In another myth, after Atlas is freed from his burden, the Greek hero Perseus encountered the Titan after slaying the Gorgon Medusa. He asked Atlas if he would give him shelter. Atlas refused and he tried to drive the hero away. Perseus used Medusa's head, turning the Titan into a stone mountain, trapping him.